Morning, everybody. Another beautiful day. Just heading out into the garden. Gonna get some stuff started here. But before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you to Curtis Stone. I was watching his chat, and I think oftentimes we watch these things and we don't realize how much effort people put into these. It's a lot of their time that's invested, and I've learned quite a bit from him, so I decided to throw him a super chat, and I didn't expect anything in return, and he basically pulled up my YouTube channel and said, hey, look at this guy, he does have a front yard. I mean, I removed my lawn because of him, and decided to plant a vegetable garden. I decided that if I was going to water something, it was going to be something that I could eat from now on. So Curtis had pulled it up and showed it on his chat, and I instantly got 25 more subscribers and quite a few views. So it's really cool that somebody with the channel at his size would actually recognize just a little guy. So I really appreciate that. Thanks, Curtis. So today I'm gonna get started on cleaning out these beds right here, getting the weeds out, and putting some more soil in. You can see that the soil is pretty far below these drip lines right here. Every year I add soil and it just compacts down, so I'll add some more of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this cleaned up, and I'll mix up some soil and get ready for some seedling. Okay, so I'm just finishing up on getting all this stuff out of here. Got this clover out of here. I usually pull it up, feed it to my chickens. They love the clover. But I wanted to come on while I'm pulling this out and just kind of point out something here. So if you plan on removing your front lawn and just removing it in general, if you just don't want a lawn, whether you want to put a vegetable garden or not, one of the things that I learned was everybody said, hey, you can just go ahead and sheet mulch it, put down some cardboard, cover it up, and the lawn will just disappear. Don't worry about it. Well, I ended up removing it all in here. Removed all that by hand. But what I did with the boxes was I covered with cardboard, and then I built the boxes on top. And I thought, that should take care of it. The lawn shouldn't come back. Well, that's not the case. It doesn't disappear. It just keeps coming back. So if I could make one suggestion, remove the lawn all the way. Don't try and bury it. Don't try and sheet mulch it. Remove it. Scrape it off and start from there, because once you scrape it off, it becomes a lot easier. Here's an example. This is growing from what was sheet mulch down below all the way through and even through my box. So that's a tip. Make sure that you remove that and remove the grass all the way. One of the benefits of having your own garden, accidentally pulled a weed, ended up being a carrot. So good morning. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this carrot. Wouldn't really consider it a mistake. Now that I have the everything removed, all the weeds, what I like to do is come through with this thing and just loosen up this soil just a little bit, compact it down. Started at the top of this box, so it's a little bit compacted. Just come in here with this thing, just give it a quick twist, break it up. Perfect little tool for this little box. I think this thing's made for removing weeds. I'm not really sure. I just saw it one day and I thought, oh, that would work really good in between my drip lines in the raised boxes. So I just come through, just give it a quick twist. Pretty simple. Let's get some soil mixed up. Alright, so basically I used the Mel's Mix, the square foot garden method. It's 1/3 peat moss, 1/3 soil, and 1/3 vermiculite. I don't have any compost to put into it, my compost pile is pretty small, so I'm gonna actually add some to the top and kind of amend it in later on, but that's what I have for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start filling up this box. So my original plan was to have a potato mound right here, but then I started thinking about it. Let me back up a little bit. So I have my walkway right here, and then that was going to be the potato mound. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I want to make this a little bit easier. So now what I've decided is I'm gonna have some grow bags and put potatoes in the grow bags. And it kind of does two things. The first thing is, when it comes time to harvest, I can just pick up this bag, throw it in a wheelbarrow, sift out all the potatoes, and I'm ready to go. And second of all, I'll have more planting space here, and it kind of gives it more depth. So in the spring and summertime, when the potatoes have all their leaves coming out, that'll be nice, and then you'll have whatever else I decide to plant along here, so it'll kind of give it a nice look of like depth and more food production. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these get the soil mix for the potatoes, get my seed potatoes in there, and get it ready. Checking up on my girls here. Heard some screaming. Want to make sure they're okay. Alright, I have no idea what the drama was with those chickens. One of them was screaming. Thought maybe it's a predator. They're in a pretty safe area there. Birds can't really swoop down and get them, but thought maybe it was a squirrel, raccoon, or something. I'm not really sure. Anyways, here's the way the bags are for the potatoes. Tucked back there nice and neat. It's a little shaded, but it is the winter time, so in the summer they'll get a lot more sun. And here's the concept. They're tucked back there now, and now I have all this area to grow rather than just having a potato mound, so it gives me more space to grow. So I'm gonna get started now. I bought a couple of I'm trying to grow everything from seed, but I just bought a couple of little tiny blueberry bushes. Obviously they won't give me anything this year, but it's definitely something I want to start to grow. I grew one year and it produced, and then the next year it just died off, and my daughter loves blueberries, so I want to get a couple of blueberries going. Hopefully next year she can start to enjoy some. So we'll go ahead and get this in the grow bag. And the reason why I'm putting it in a grow bag is we have really horrible soil. It's like a clay rock mixture. So nothing's really ever some things take off, like that'll grow, this will grow, so I just kind of throw it in the ground just so we can get some things growing. But my trees have done okay, but put a few blueberries in the ground before and they didn't make it, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it in a grow basket, make sure that give it a chance. Okay, so got the blueberries planted. The next project that I have is this little trellis that I had built right here. It was originally supposed to be for grapes, raspberries, blackberries, but I never ended up planting them, so I put these in so we could have a little bit of color in the front yard. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this section out, trim this back. I'm going to go ahead and plant a grapevine right here, and then I'm going to try and train it up and then up to here, because our family really loves grapes, so I'll go ahead and try and get those to grow this year. So let me get started on that, and I'll check back in once I have them in the ground. So as I was digging down, I had talked about our soil here. Well, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not soil, it's not dirt. This is pretty much when you dig down about 6-7 inches. This is what you hit. It's just pure clay filled with rocks. So what I usually try and do is dig down as far as I possibly can, backfill it with some nice soil, and give the plant the best chance to survive. So I get back to digging this hole. This is probably kind of hard to see because of the sun. I'm digging it out pretty big for this new grapevine, and I'll do the same for the other side too. All right, got the grapevines in. Get them trained up onto this line, and train them up onto that line. Both of them are in. Take a look at this one over here. So that's all complete. So get started on cleaning this up. Not much to film. Do some weeding, get stuff cleaned up, and then I'm going to come back and do a little bit of a garden tour and kind of explain what's going on here. Alright, so do a quick tour of, got this all cleaned up. This is the pomegranate. Got all the weeds out of here. These are the berms that I had built last week. Still need to get the irrigation down. I'll have that done today. Here what I did was I cut a tomato cage right here, just cut it, and I wrapped it around this tree, and I'm going to have some peas coming up here, so they'll come out of this box and grow up that little lattice. And over here are the potatoes that were planted this weekend. They're all ready to go. And you can see all 3 boxes have been filled up with new soil. Just waiting for the seeds to transplant. And we have our new grapes along here. The other one over here. So one of the things I didn't talk about last time was the boxes and the way that I had designed them. Basically, it's 6 feet by 4 feet, redwood 2 by 6. So you got 2 pieces here, just screwed into a 4 by 4, and then I also put another 4 by 4 over here to help keep the edges from bowing out. They obviously won't last forever, but they'll hold up for many years. We'll probably be here for about another 6 years, so they should be fine in that time. If not, I can replace them. Kevin from Epic Gardening has he sells metal boxes. I don't know if they're good boxes, bad boxes. I know nothing about them. They look like they're pretty good quality, and they're pretty good pricing on them. So if you're interested in starting front lawn garden, maybe backyard, whatever you're planning on doing, you might want to go take a look at those. These boxes are all they're all set up with drip lines. You can see here. So So there's drip lines all along here, and each box has its own shutoff too. So if I decide that I don't have something planted in that box, and I can go ahead and shut that box off. Don't have to waste the water if you're not watering anything. And as I start to put together this drip line, I didn't have valves on those, but I'm actually going to add some too, so I'll be able to control the water flow. Anyways, this walkway right here is about 22 inches across, so you can walk over here. And the way that I designed these boxes was so you can reach from one side or the other pretty simply. And then the other thing in the design that I wanted was I wanted to be able to bring my recycling bin and wheelbarrow through here. So these are wide enough to fit those, come through here, and then each is an entryway to each section. So then I keep this tree cut back so that this area is all open. The wheelbarrow can fit through here, fits through here on this tree, no problem at all. The other thing is the compost. One of the things that I need to do this year is I need to get rid of this. This is just basically dirt that I dug out and threw in here. So I need to get rid of this so that I can really start my composting done, to get my composting done the right way, so that I can have one pile that's ready to go, start another pile, and that way I'll be able to start rotating it into the garden. And one of the other things that I need to do this year is, I don't mind the clover here, but we have a lot of crabgrass that pops up. So I'm planning on putting some weed control over this and start to grow other things. I like the clover. And then over here we have the nasturtium. I'm going to do the same thing over here, get the weeds under control, the crabgrass. You can see the grass just continues to pop up, just pops up through here. So I have to pick it every year, so I want to start to get rid of that. But the nasturtium looks really nice. It's like a carpet in the summertime, so you'll have all the bright flowers popping through. So I want to keep the nasturtium. I really like the look of it. And these are the blueberries that I had planted this weekend. They're in their grow bags, and eventually what will happen along here is I just put down some weed barrier, some ground coverage, and some ornamental plants just to have something in here so it wasn't so plain. But what I'll start to do is swap out. I'll leave the ornamentals, but I'll end up putting some food in between them. So I'm thinking about maybe putting some squash in here and let the vines grow throughout here, so then that way there'll be food growing along there. So I wanted to show you the walkway over here in the way I had originally designed it. So this area was flowers that have been here forever. I haven't touched those because they grow well. We don't even water them. The only thing I have to do is trim them back. When I designed this area to walk up, these lights slide up along the walkway. And then this was originally supposed to have food in here, but then my wife was we had to make a little bit of a compromise. She wanted, not a compromise, but she wanted some colorful flowers. She was tired of looking at the black and gray and the vegetables coming in and out. So I planted these, and I can eventually replace those. And then we have some Mexican salvia that grows really well out here, so we'll keep that. And then you see here, Grandma's garden, all of the little statues that I have in here, these all belong to my grandma. She loved to grow flowers, and good morning. When my grandmother had passed away, well, she actually ended up with Alzheimer's, and so she was in the hospital for a while. But when we moved my grandfather out of the house, we had all these, there was many more statues, but we had them all lined up out in front, and I thought that my cousins, brother, sister, that they might want to take some of them, but none of them did. And that's okay. But I know that I like to garden, and so I was happy to take those and put them in my garden. So a lot of them can be, yeah, they might be 40 years old. They're cement and they're starting to fall apart, but it's a nice little touch to the garden. So anyways, if you're thinking of starting a front, removing your lawn and starting a front garden, even a back garden, especially on the front side, when I removed mine, my wife and I had talked about it, and she was kind of reluctant to getting rid of the nice beautiful lawn. I think that lawns do have a place, maybe not on the front of a house, at parks where kids can play, you can have a picnic. Those are great. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a front lawn, not at all, but for me it was just something I no longer wanted. And putting these boxes in, it's pretty rewarding to come out here and see your own front yard garden. When people walk by, they actually look at it. During the summertime, when our fruit trees have fruit on it, it's pretty amazing to watch the kids and even the adults. They all come by and take a look at it. So if you're thinking about doing something like this and you're a little reluctant on whether you want to remove all of your lawn, then my suggestion would be to take a look at, I think the simplest way to get into it would be to go over to Kevin at Epic Gardening. I'll put a link into his YouTube channel down below, and take a look at the boxes he's selling. The prices are really good. Maybe you buy one box, remove a little section, see if it's something for you. If not, you put your lawn back. Just kind of whatever you want to do. This will probably be my last video on the garden. There's not much to do. I have my seeds growing, so when those come in, I'll get those transplanted and do another walkthrough of what I have planted, where I have it planted. So I'll probably do that in about 2 to 3 weeks, but next week I'll do it. My plan is to do a video on backyard chickens, and it's not going to be a video on how to be an expert at it. It's how to be a beginner. I'm a beginner. Last year I got my chickens. I've had them for 12 months, so it's going to be more of a perspective on what you can expect as a beginner, coming from a beginner. So I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks.